Live from Trinity City Studios, it's the Dr. Brad Show. And now, here's Dr. Brad.
Hi, everybody. Dr. Brad here. Today's discussion centers upon the fallacy of utilizing pre-employment psychological testing to predict employee fit. You know, if only tests were 100% accurate and infallible. Of course, they're not. But a lot of these companies, folks, are using pre-employment testing. They think it's real predictive. But in fact, it's really fallacious to use it because it doesn't work. And of course, I'm going to be showing you too some sources. So to find the holy grail in staffing, what we commonly term the Jesus employee, because he or she is perfect, organizations often turn to the newest fad in pre-screening technology. Okay. Personality tests, all kinds of nonsense. The Wonderlic test. Boy, I've even known an organization that administered the Wonderlic test. I mean, folks, that is a test that determines really your intelligent quotient. It's not useful for skills-based or interrelational dynamics-based assessment. But anyway, many organizations are utilizing the online pre-employment psychological analysis in hopes of better predicting employee fit for the position and organizational culture. And of course, there's a myriad difficulties with this approach, which could lead the organization to erroneously fail to hire a qualified candidate. First, organizations are patently unfair in the administration of these types of tests. In very few instances does the organization allow the candidate a copy of the test results, stating always that the test results are property of the company. Why are they doing this? This should be a red flag to anybody. What is the company hiring, and why won't they provide the candidate a copy of the test, of the results? You know, if they're worried about legalities, why are you using the test? Doesn't make sense to me. They want to be able to use it but not be sued, even though it's fallacious or flawed. Okay? So yeah, this should be a red flag to anyone considering taking such a test. I never recommend taking any tests. Don't do it, folks, because what they're doing is they're giving you a test, and I'll get into this, and they don't know how it's scored. They don't know what the reliability is and what the validity is. They don't know who created the test. I mean, is it scored by a bot? Is it scored by a human, a psychologist? And these people are not qualified. All they do is get more times than not, get a computer readout that tells you about the candidate, and then they make a decision based on that little readout. I mean, so they're using it as an inclusivity tool or an exclusivity tool. That's all I can say. I mean, it's improperly utilized. What is the company hiding? Okay. The answer is obvious. The organization wants as much secrecy around the results as possible to insulate themselves from potential negative consequences, i.e. litigation. This is unfair to the candidate, and if not hired, leaves a question in the candidate's mind whether the testing was fair or was correctly interpreted. And certainly they would have a valid point, right? Transparency is always better. If the organization must hide results in secrecy, it probably would be better not to utilize the test and the results, right? Common sense. But we're dealing with organizations, folks. The people that are deciding to use these things are not rocket scientists. Second, there are hundreds of testing companies, okay, utilizing a veritable plethora of tests, all of whom claim that their test methodologies are validated and scored appropriately. But how do we know? Organizations don't know. They're just taking the company's word for it, the salesperson that sold them the test. Questions abound concerning what methodologies were used, who developed the test questions, how was the test validated to be determined reliable, and is the test scored by a bot or a human? As I said, is the human a licensed psychologist? One can quickly see the problems that arise. For instance, for a psychological test to be considered reliable, it must be validated to eliminate bias across gender, ethnic differences, and geographic locale. This is because there are perception differences across different genders, ethnicities, and geographic locale, right? Which affects social norms, mores, values, yada, yada, yada. These tests are a one-size-fits-all approach that could not possibly be validated for every factor, especially geographic locale. For instance, now just think about this, folks. For instance, for a test to be valid in Dallas, Texas, it must be validated to the demographics of that locale. 50.7% white, 25% black, 0.5% Native American, 2.9% Asian, 42.4% Hispanic, and 17.2% considered other races. Do you think they validated it for that? I don't think so. In Compton, California, it has to be validated to the demographics of that locale. 25.9% white, 32.9% black, 0.7% Asian, 0.7% Native American, 65% Hispanic, 3.4% other races, according to Cities Demographics 2017. So that shows you the same test would have to be validated in each locale. Folks, it's not going to happen. They don't do that. But yet these organizations think, oh man, this really gives me a great insight into this candidate. Oh my God, folks. It's incredible how dumb these people are. One can immediately see the disparity in demographics between those two cities, yet the tests administered are not adjusted for each locale, right? There are usually online tests. Why don't they do that? Well, how about cost? You know how much it would cost to do that? The testing companies would need to create validated tests for thousands of cities and counties nationwide. This is problematic because the tests, if not validated, are then discriminatory. And it's just a matter of time before litigation is initiated regarding test bias. Trust me, folks, this is the new, it hasn't happened yet. There's been rumblings, but this is the new cigarette lawsuit. People administering these tests. And then, someone doesn't get their results, they're not hired, blah, blah, blah. So next thing you know, subpoenas are issued, and then the companies have trouble. They're going to try to fall back on the third-party vendor who said it was valid. Yeah, but you relied on that. You didn't go and do your due diligence. Third, it's doubtful such tests are scored each time by human psychologists, right? I mean, it's almost a physical impossibility. They are most likely scored by bots. Oh boy. This is a great cause for concern because one cannot be certain how the scoring bot was designed, how it functioned, or how it's calibrated and audited for accuracy. I would surmise that testing companies do not audit for accuracy, even periodically. They just create the test and set it out there. Couple this with the bias test and whoa, should these results be trusted to give you an accurate depiction of the candidate profile? Wow, man, folks. See? Last, with all the potential bias, problematic scoring potential, and secrecy, should we trust human resource professionals who are not trained as licensed psychologists to accurately interpret the reports these tests generate? Okay? If all the aforementioned problems were not enough, you will be asking non-qualified individuals to assess potentially faulty results. Man, folks, this is a recipe for disaster. You can see it. And it's easy to see how relying solely upon these test reports could result in a hiring evaluator making erroneous decisions. And they do. And I'll just quickly show you, as I transition here, This is if we look at this, we can show you. This is just happens to be HR Dive. First of all, candidates are declining the number of applicants because they don't want to take a test. So if ABC company makes you take a test and XYZ company doesn't, where are they going to go? Hello, it's not rocket science, folks. I mean, but yet these dummy organizations continue to do it. They don't care that they lose candidates. Well, we're ABC employer. People will have to come to us. That's the height of arrogance and hubris, folks. Crazy. Employers, look at this. Employers routinely use flawed personality tests to screen millions of applicants a year, when more reliable assessment tools are available, like immersive tests. And we're going to get into that at another time. So, this is just one instance. There's a multiplicity of websites, some of them using peer-reviewed literature to support that these are flawed tests. But anyway, this is Dr. Brad, little diatribe. Thanks so much for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Bye now.